Welcome to a new video in my home automation series, and today is going to be the first video of my Taphome live automation. So this is going to be an uncut video where I try to create a couple of scenarios for my Taphome setup. And as I said in the previous video, I purchased this demo unit, and I've been on a 2-hour quick training just to get my head around, and I'm mostly trying to recreate what was on that training with some additional bits and pieces, especially with this hardware setup here. So that's what you are going to see in the next hour, or how long it's going to take. So what we are going to do is we are going to configure a couple of outputs. So how you can just use simple light switches to control outputs. We are going to see how you can use temperature sensors and create thermostats. Use that temperature value to control, let's say, outputs, which would represent heating valves and, let's say, boilers, and some other things that we are going to play around with, other inputs, and like how this input is influences the presence sensor, and what you can do with whether your presence is set to either home or away. You can see the setup here. I already talked about it in the previous video, but let me just summarize it again. That's the core module, which is a couple of input and outputs, and I also have a 12DO, so digital out, and 12UI, universal input module. Actually, I also have a 2UI module here, which is just out of the shot, but for some reason it's not connecting. You're going to see it later. So I think it's probably faulty, so I'm going to have it replaced. I'm probably going to feature that later in the video. And besides all the things that you can see, there is a 24-volt power supply down there, and there is also a temperature probe here, which is just outside the shot. But yeah, you can see it. It's like a NTC type temperature probe. But other than that, I have a couple of switches, I have a couple of buttons, and for all the outputs, I have LEDs connected. So we have 6 green LEDs here, that's the 6 outputs of the core, and we also have 12 LEDs here, which is the 12 output of this 12 UI. So let's start, working on this thing. And the only thing which I haven't recorded, which is just the really first few steps of the initial setup, which is creating a user, for which I've downloaded the Taphome app, and then I created an account for myself with my Gmail user ID, and then it immediately asked me. So I was doing this at home when I was connected to the same network as the Taphome core, and then it says that there is a Taphome core device on the same network as the phone, whether I want to add it to my account, and I did that. So that was the initial setup. And after that, I've downloaded the Taphome app, the Windows app, which is actually it's a Windows executable. I think there is also a Linux version available. And I'm going to be using this instead of the phone app because it just has more screen, and it's just better to understand what I'm doing. But everything that you see me doing here, you can do it on the phone as well, which I think that's great. And right here we have 2 options to connect to the device. We can connect using the registered email address and the password, and that's going to connect over the cloud. Or we can also connect locally, and I think I'm just going to do that because, yeah, why not? And now it's going to search for the control unit, and it's found one. And here you log in with the local admin account, which is admin by default. Okay, so we are already in, and when you go into this admin account, you see. On the phone, you will only see the dashboard here in the middle, and then you would have the hamburger menu, which opens up this side menu, which on the desktop version is always available. So this is why I like it, because you just have more real estate. And as you can see, we already have 2, I think they call it virtual devices created. So there is a presence sensor, which is like you can set it between various statuses, and you also have a heating sensor. So I think it's quite typical in most European countries that you probably have just the heating system, and maybe the cooling is separate, so you don't have a like a 4-pipe fan coil for heating and cooling. So you probably want to have a switch where you say that, okay, we are in the winter, so we want to do heating, or whether you are in the summer and you want to do cooling, because it could be separate things. So they have created this virtual device for that as well. And going back to the main menu, so you have devices. You see there's 2 devices here, and you have smart rules, which we haven't created yet. You have dashboards. I mean, we already seen the dashboard. This is what you can see on the mobile screen, and you can create multiple dashboards. To be honest, I don't think I will go into the dashboard too much, but yeah, I mean, it's more interesting to set up the automation and the logic and the rules and everything. And whenever you create anything, so we will see once we create devices that we can put into zones and categories. So zones would be like your rooms, and categories would be like your like lights, irrigation, heating, thermostats. So again, you can just filter them. So if you only want to see lights, you can just filter on the category lights or thermostats, or I don't know, valves or something else. And you have settings for home. Again, on your account, you can have multiple Taphome core devices. Let's say you install it on your home, your holiday home, so they will show up as different locations. And finally, we have the settings here. And I mean, yeah, I don't want to go into the details, but that's the other thing which I did offline is here in the software update. There was a software update both for the control unit, so the core, and also there was a software update for this core unit. That was the core unit. So I did the software update for that. And so going back, yeah, you have profiles, you have users, you have multiple locations, as I said. So you can add locations, and then you have hardware, virtual devices, and variables. So hardware is going to be anything which is connected to your core. So for me, I have a core and I have a 12D or 12 UI output. And also I have this one which is not working at the moment. So virtual devices like these heating and presence device, variables, you can create variables that you would use in the logic. And exposed devices, that's where you can create expose the devices that you have to other systems. So I don't know if I'm going to get there at some point, but what I want to test that you can expose any of your outputs and switches and inputs to, for example, to Modbus TCP. So if you have a hybrid system where you have this and probably another PLC, then you can open up all the ports here and the PLC would be able to read them. So that's the exposed device. So if I add, you can see that they do support a number of integration. So there is a generic TCP integration, as I said, Modbus TCP or RTU, and a few other things I don't know about. I mean, KNX is another protocol, and there is Amazon integration. So if you want to expose your devices to Amazon Alexa in order to voice control them, you can do it from here. And yeah, access control. Oh, yeah, okay. So I won't be able to show you this, but there is, I don't know if I mentioned in the main video, but you can get a module which is, let's say, a vegan security module. So you can buy these keypads, RFID readers, and that's fully integrated into the access control. So you can probably set it up here. What else? Okay, you have a couple of app settings for this app. It is available in quite a few different languages. So this is a Slovakian company, so they support quite a few of the Central Eastern European languages. You can see Croatian, Hungarian, Italian, okay, Polish, Romanian, Slovenian, Slovakian, and a couple of others. And of course, the English, Dutch, German, Italian. So it's available in quite a few languages. You can set date format, time format, text size, a lot of other stuff. Cool. Let's start doing something. So first thing I'm going to do is now, if I go into, let's say, if I go into devices, we can see that we only have one device, which is this Core 20. And if I click on that device, I can see the inputs and the outputs. But what I want to do here is come to settings and come to hardware. And then in the hardware, you can see that the core has 3 bus lines. So bus 1, 2, and 3. And you can define them which one is going to be the bus for the Taphome devices and which one you would want to maybe reserve for other devices. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to use bus 1 and 2 for Taphome. I mean, most probably it's just only one because you can just daisy chain them. And then I'm going to use bus 3 for Modbus TCP because I have a Modbus RTU because I have a Modbus serial thermostat here. So I'm going to enable bus 1 and bus 2, and now I'm just going to go find new devices. So now it's going to query each of the bus, and it's going to look for any new devices that are connected to the core. And as I said, this 2 UI unit is not working, so most probably I'm going to find this one, and it's already found one device. Let's see how it looks like. Yeah, DO12 UI12. So that's the unit that we have. And now I have both of these devices available. Okay, so this is good. I mean, this is all we have to do here. And of course, if you power it down, you connect another unit, then you just have to find the new devices, and it's going to find a new device which is connected to it. So with this, I think we are done with the hardware, and we don't need any of these, so we can go straight to devices. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a very simple automation. Let's say we have a switch here and we have a couple of outputs here. So let's, okay, this is not a switch, this is a push button. So let's configure this push button to toggle one of the outputs. So for that, I need to first come to the 12 UI input-output module, because these LEDs are connected to these outputs here, and actually these 4 push buttons are also connected to the, let me just see, I think, yeah, I connected all of them to the 4 inputs, so input 1, 2, 3, and 4. Actually, let me just, let me just do that. I mean, there is a lot of wires here, but you can probably see that these are my 4 push buttons, and the wires go all the way through here and connecting to UI 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these 12 LEDs are connected to digital output 1 to 9, and then 10 to 12 here. Okay, let's go back to the previous view. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is you can see all the digital outputs. So I think we are going to use digital output 1, and I'm just going to configure this as a digital output, and let's say this is a light. So we can add a new zone. Let's say that this is in the kitchen, and in the category lights. Okay, you can rename them if you want in your local language. And of course you can rename this one as well. Okay, so that's going to be our kitchen light. And if I go back, okay, let's just leave it like that. And also, so it's already showing up as an output. And let also configure the universal input. So that's going to be universal input 1, which is going to be a push button. And let me just cancel my Google notifications. Okay, so that's going to be also in the kitchen. And do we have, it's going to control the lights as well. Kitchen lights switch. And let's just save it. Okay, so now we have 2 devices as well, and I can control it from here. So you can see the LED is toggling here. And we have a light switch, which, it's a light switch. You can push it, and that's it. So what we're going to do here now is we are going to link the 2 together. So we are going to create a smart rule, and then we are going to see that these are the options that are available for a simple push button. Oh, and actually I can do show all. And obviously I'm not going to test all of these, but maybe you can pause the video just to get an idea of all the things that are supported. Okay, so I think I'm going to use the simple control blinds, not control up, light scene. Where is the simple push button? Push button events. Okay, so okay, that's the so this is the that's the event, or that's the smart rule that we are configuring. That's for the kitchen. I mean, I only have one input, and let's say if I do a long, just like a normal press, then I add a output, which is the kitchen light, and done. And I want to toggle it. And as you can see, you can turn it on and off and toggle, and you can do an impulse, and you can also set a duration. So let's say you want this action to be executed but with a delay, then you can set it here. Or you want to turn it on but only for a certain amount of duration, and after that it's going to automatically turn off. So this is what you can configure here. But I don't want to do anything else, just this one. So that's the action. And I haven't configured anything for the long press or a double press. And then I can also name this. So kitchen light switch rule, because most probably it's going to be multiple rules. And you can also set limiting conditions. So let's say only limiting to a certain, amount, like time interval of the day, or add a formula to it, or only enable it if a certain digital output or a multi-value switch is enabled. Because you can have multiple of these actions configured for a particular switch. So for example, if you disable or you put like a condition for one of them, where the condition is false, then that action is not going to execute. Then the system is going to process the next action. So I think you can see that there is a lot here that you can do. So I've configured this, and I'm going to save it. Okay, smart rule is saved. By the way, this is why I like to name my smart rules, because then if you go into smart rules, then it's going to show up here, and it's most probably going to be much easier to find what you're looking for instead of finding the device that the smart rule is linked to. So hopefully if I push this, the output comes on. If I push again, the output goes off. So that was simple. Let's go back, configure a few more outputs. So second output, oh, sorry, no. Let's do the output first. So second output, digital output, that's going to be in the living room, and that's going to be still light. Room light. Good. Let's do the output, the input. Living room light. I got a little bit confused why the second UI got automatically configured. Living room, maybe because I've gone in here and, going back is not really canceling, it's just not saving, I guess. Okay, living room light switch. And save, and we have the two new devices. So we can see that the second LED is working. And for the light switch, we can just create the very same rule that we have used before. So no, we don't want button push events, and yeah, and for the long press, I'm going to living room light. I need to rename that. Okay, and that's going to be a toggle event as well. And yeah, I mean, I think in this UI, and it's also the same for the phone, you just have to be really careful. I mean, there is no OK buttons here or save. So in some cases, you have a button at the lower part of the pane, and sometimes you just have to go back in order to, go to the higher level, let's say, screen or a parent screen. And the name of this automation is living room light switch rule. Okay, that's good. And there's no condition, there's nothing, and I just save it. And it should be working, and it is working. So yeah, that second LED is working. Actually, let me just go back because I don't like how it is named. So this is living room light. Okay, I guess I haven't renamed this just by changing the zone and the category. It already predetermined the name of the output. Okay, that's good. So the switches are working now. I can use the first switch and the second switch to turn the lights on and off. I mean, yeah, this is what you want to do. Okay, so let's use some of the other functions of these rules. So let's say the living room and the kitchen is actually a single room. So what if we go back to the smart rules, and in the kitchen rules we say that if I do a long press, then I want to turn off both the kitchen lights and the living room light. And let me just add the same for the other one as well. So new actions, both of my outputs are to be off. And of course I can select one of them to be on and the other one to be off. You just have to do, add as two different actions. But here I just have one action. Oh, okay. So as I said, I'm just doing this as I go along. So I just clicked on this thingy. So this is notification. So you can set a notification as well, which is going to appear in your mobile app. So if this action is triggered, you can send yourself a notification. But I don't want to do that. So go back and then save. So if I turn this on, let's say both of them, and if I long press, then they both turn off. How convenient is that? And as I said, you can do all this on your mobile phone as well. So all of a sudden you have an idea that, I want this switch to work in a different way as well. I mean, as you can see, you have so many different things. So if I go back to, sorry, not this one. Oh, and now you can see that this light or this output is being affected by all these all these rules. And what you can also do, so you see the logs, you see a couple of logs, and you can also see statistics. You can turn on the statistics, which is just going to show you a graph how it goes up and down, but I think it's going to make more sense for the thermostat. So I'm just not going to use that. And yeah, you have a few options here in the device settings as well. Oh yeah, by the way, you can see here that you can rename these text here, and you can change the icons if you don't like to, if you don't like the defaults. But I think I'm going to do that in the next step. So maybe that should be good enough for lights. I mean, let's say for a time being, maybe we are going to use it for a few other things. So I want to play around with these presents a little bit, and so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the first switch here. So this is in the core module, and that's input 1, and let's say this is a read contact, so basically like an on-off contact, because it's not a push button, this is just a switch. And I'm going to create a new zone. I'm just going to look for a zone. I don't know if there is anything which is like a generic zone. Oh, whole house, yeah, that's what I need. And the category is alarm or security or something like that. Monitoring, safety. Let's use safety. So what I want to do is, let's say that we have a separate alarm system, and that alarm system has a very simple output, which is going to send an input to our Taphome core, whether the alarm is armed or not. And security alarm armed input. Okay, so that's going to be UI1. And if I save this, then you can see it here, it is opened, and if I turn the switch on, it's closed. And maybe here we can play around with the icons a little bit. So if it's open, then maybe I select this house icon, and if it's closed, then I have this icon. So, and if it's open, it's not armed, and if it's closed, then it's armed. Okay, so that's going to have an impact on the icon. So you can see that it is not armed, and now the security system is armed. Okay, that's good. But that only impacts this. It doesn't, change this presence. So maybe, I mean, now you can decide whether you want to use this presence as your main, let's say, device to see whether the security is armed or not, or you want to use this security alarm input. But let's say I want to use the main device. Maybe this is just going to be a technical device, which is not, I'm not even going to show on the dashboard, because by the way, our dashboard hasn't changed. So we are just still in the devices. So we haven't added anything to the dashboard. We can decide later on how any of these devices will show up there. So I can do a smart rule here in the switch event. So if this goes on, which is not armed, then I want the presence to be set to home. And if it's armed, I want my presence to be set to away. And enable, and there's no limiting conditions. So if I change that, so now you can see that there is a small icon which says that this is being set by automation. And if I flick, then this changes to arm and the presence is changed away. And at this point, I can still, make changes here. So I can always override it manually. So I can always set it to into away if I want to. But if I, make it to vacation, and well, then the alarm goes to armed. So, I mean, you can make this rule a little bit smarter, saying that, don't set it to away if it's already set in vacation mode. But maybe when you come home and the alarm goes off, then you automatically flick it back to home from vacation. So that's the first integration. So the other thing I want to do is, let's say we have a pump in our home which is going to circulate the hot water. So when you open the tap, it circulates the hot water between your boiler and the tap. So when you open the tap, the hot water comes immediately, so you don't have to wait for that. And I think I'm going to use this output. So this is the first output on the core module, universal output, and I'm just going to use it as a digital output, and zone whole house, and the category is going to be there is a circulation pump. Okay. Good. So this is my circulation pump output, and now I can, where are you? I can switch it immediately. You can see the LED comes on. This is not a relay output, so this is only like a 24-volt output. So this is why you don't hear a click. So good. So now we have this circulation pump, and let's say we want to add a smart rule to this pump to there is there was something here. It was, I think it's a sequence. And the sequence is running. Maybe not this one. So what I want is, I want, like, you know, it turns on 10 minutes every hour, and then it turns off. And I'm not really sure which one is that. Maybe it's going to be the sequence. So not a PID, not a script, link device, not a formula, not an equation. Delay advent, yeah, switch event, daily schedule. Yeah. I mean, you could use it as well to, well, first of all, limit between certain time of the day and then in the period action. Okay, so maybe what we can do here is we can use this daily schedule. So set between 7 and 9. I mean, probably this can go over all the way to midnight. And oh yeah, actually, yeah, 00 next day. And then when it is in the period, we can just use this impulse. So we can use the on duration and the off duration. So let's say 10 minutes and 50 minutes. But I think I'm going to use the seconds, so we can see that it's actually blinking. And number of cycles, always. Okay, good. This looks good. So I don't even have to add any actions. And save it. And now we can see that it is actually blinking. So it's on for 5 seconds and it's off for 5 seconds. So this is our circulation pump. Oh, that was good. That was good, and it was really easy. And actually, I can rename that as well. So that's going to be our circulation pump rule, and save. And actually, this is why I created this alarm input, because I want to give a condition for this one. So limiting conditions, and I think not a time, not a actually the presence is a multi-value switch. So presence is a multi-value switch, and I want this to only work if I am at home. Okay, back, save. Good. So you can see that the pump goes between on and off. Okay, so I think I've configured something incorrectly. So let's say if I turn the alarm on, so the circulation pump remains on, which is odd. I haven't really expected it to work that way. Maybe I just need to go back. So if I turn the presence to home, then, oh, actually it does the thing. Yeah, okay, so I'm at home, so I'm running the circulation pump. So it is working. I mean, yeah, I guess it needed a cycle from the condition or something like that. I guess there is one thing that I haven't configured is that if I switch the presence to away when the pump is on, it's going to stay on. But if I switch the presence to away when it is off, then I think it's going to stay off. But I can just do it with one other action, so I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, so now we are away. Oh, and the pump still comes on. And it comes on with a, did you see there is like a notification that something is not okay? So circulation pump rule. Maybe I had to do that, I'm not really sure. So the presence is home, so now it's doing this A thing which says that it's being set by, I'm not really sure what's the exclamation mark. And if I turn it off, it still runs. Okay, so this is one thing I wanted to do and it doesn't work, or at least doesn't work the way I think it does. Enable limiting condition multi-value switch. Maybe I will have to come back to this at a later point. Maybe I need to ask the guys, because I think, so the limiting condition is, the whole rule is enabled. We have a limiting condition which is enabled, and I'm guessing this means that this limits the rule to only work when, or does it have to be the other way around? Regardless, if it's the other way around, that means that it should have stopped in one of the statuses. So it's still running now, and if I do this, I'm guessing it will still run the cycle. Yeah, it still runs the cycle. Let's try something else. Smart rule and delete. Okay, let's go back to the device and let's go home to the home. So security, so if the wait for the action on, okay, so when the presence is switched to home, let me try one more thing. Is it a push button event? No. So if the it doesn't look like what I want. So I wanted to control the circulation pump from the presence itself. So if the presence is set to home, then I start the daily routine. No, I start an impulse. And if it's set to away or vacation, I set it to off. But push button event, I mean, no, I want to set, okay, when, okay, so on presence, and then I circulation pump, done, and impulse, and 5 and unlimited cycles, done, and save, and for away, button event, oh yeah, so on away, I want the circulation pump to be off. Okay, so let's put it to away. Yeah, it's not that, because the output doesn't switch off. I think my original idea about the daily routine would have been the one that we should be using, and I think we have gone through this scenario in the training. I just don't remember how we did that. So yeah, I need to figure this one out. Wait, so this is home, yeah, now it's away, and it's set back to home, and it is not doing anything. Fine. I think we already spent like 10 minutes on this one, so let's try something else. I want to play with the some of the inputs now, and as I said, I have a temperature sensor here which is connected to, I think, UI5 on the core. So core universal input 5, and this is a temperature sensor, and the zone is, let's say it's a kitchen, and the category is, let's add a new category. Do you have something for temperature, or I should set it to heating? Yeah, sensors. Maybe I can do sensors. Okay. Universal input disconnected. So this is something that I haven't tested just yet. So I'm guessing NTC thermometer. Well, it says that it is an NTC thermometer. So it should be working, and I think based on the documentation, it is. So let me show you the documentation, how I did the whole thing. Tap. Yeah, thanks. So that's the core control unit, and temperature you connect. Okay. I connected it to, so it needs to be connected between UI and ground, and I connected between UI and 24 volts. So hopefully that's not going to be an issue for this unit. And I think I'm going to just fix it now. So most probably I'm going to pause the video because I do take 24 volts up here. There is a small like Vago here, and as you can see, this NTC temperature sensor comes here. Let me change the view where I am. Okay, so I have 24 volts. I have this Vago here, and that black lead is the temperature sensor. So it goes to 24 volts and then it goes to UI5. And it actually should be between ground and the UI5. So I need some wires to take ground, let's say either from here. I think I'm probably going to take ground from here. So this is my main ground wire, which goes to ground here. And I'm just going to connect it to this other unit. So I think I'm going to pause now. Okay guys, we are back online. So I did the wiring and I briefly powered down the unit, and I have a separate ground wire coming up here to this, this Vago. So now this temperature sensor, which you can see here, it is connected between ground and UI5. And if I switch back to the screen, now you can see the temperature. Whoa, we have a temperature. And this is just a temperature probe. We are getting all sorts of warnings here that the module was restarted. So this is just a temperature node, like a temperature input. This is how the history looks like. You can see the history now. Maybe we can make some changes here. Yeah, you can do temperature calibration. You can do some coefficient. Set the resistance. I mean, this is an NTC temperature sensor, so its readings are going to depend on the cable length. So to be honest, I don't know how you configure this, but I guess you can just configure this module. Oh yeah, okay, that's the module configuration. Okay, I didn't want to go there. And if I just hit this sensor with my hand, I don't know how quickly it responds. I don't expect to be really quick, to be honest. It doesn't have to be. Maybe there is something in the device settings, how quickly it needs to. Oh yeah, it's room temperature. So yeah, but there's nothing here which says how quickly it needs to read the temperature. Okay, it's already gone up. Universal input disconnected. What is that? Why is it disconnected? It is definitely not disconnected. Okay, it's back on. I'm not really sure what happened, but you can see the history here. And okay, now that's done. So we have a device which is a temperature input, and if we want to use it as a thermostat, we actually have to create a thermostat. And I think the way you do it is you are in the devices, and this is what a virtual device is used for. And I just need to figure out how you can create a virtual device. And system devices, modules, variables, dashboards. Okay, something is happening. Okay. Maybe you have to bear with me for a moment because, yeah, settings. Oh yeah, virtual devices. Okay, and I think this is where we control, yes, so we can create virtual devices and so you have all these virtual devices, mostly because I think they depend on things. Yeah, fan, free levels, presence, lights, scene. Ooh, test device. Oh, you can do test devices as well. So the system is just going to generate you some data if you want to set up. So I think they are virtual because, well, if we create a thermostat, so the name is going to be, let's This should be the kitchen thermostat. Zone, nope. Kitchen, category, no, I think, oh, I think we have a thermostat category. No, too quick, car lighting, heating, IT, humidity. Let's use this heating. Okay, so now, and for a thermostat you can configure a couple of things. So what is your room temperature? And so that's the room temperature. You can do a floor temperature as well. So if you have like electrical underfloor heating, which needs to be measured separately because they can heat up more quickly than the room temperature. So this is why you need a floor temperature. So this is specially designed to those scenarios. You can specify a minimum and the maximum temperature, and there are a couple of preferences here as well. Okay, so if I save this one now, you will see that, you know, the kitchen thermostat looks different because you have, you know, you have this slider where you can set you can set the set point. You can see the temperature, the room temperature here, and that's the set point. And probably it makes more sense that if you add the statistics here. So you can set the statistic on the temperature and the set point as well. We don't have humidity. So then it's going to show how the temperature changes and how the, you know, the set point changes. And that's, as I said, this left, so this left panel is always, that's how it appears on your mobile as well. Sorry, that's the right panel. And of course, if you're not displaying this one, then it goes back to this main screen, which is obviously a different aspect ratio on the phone. And then, yeah, you have the left if you bring up the hamburger menu. Good. So we have a thermostat now. So we can go back to our devices and we want to create a new valve. And that's going to be the second output. So the second green LED. So that's the digital output, and it's going to be the kitchen and the category heating, and kitchen heating valve. Okay, so the kitchen, oops, yeah, of course, save. Yep. So, yeah, it works on off. And now we can configure a kitchen thermostat. And here, obviously, if the set temperature is higher than the room temperature, then the valve needs to be open, right? So I'm guessing maybe there is probably a rule for that, because I don't think that there is actually like you can configure the output here. No, you can't. So, oops, I have to set up a rule. So kitchen thermostat, limit temperature. Yeah, so you can turn off the floor heating. So this is what I told you about the electric floor heater. Temperature histories is controller, PID controller, blinds, device error notification, formula, link, script, weekly schedule. Okay. Oh, look, blinds adjustment according to the sun. Oh, I can link thermostats together. Okay, I'm playing around with this because I don't remember how we actually did that. So new smart rule. So definitely we did something like for a valve. So you have a valve for a you know, based on the thermostat. So obviously, if ooh, maybe this is the one. Oh, oh, this is good. Oh, okay, I like this. I don't have anything for that, but okay, we are not going to set this up. But I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing. So this is the this is where you would be able to configure the set point based on the outside temperature, which actually what I have in my house as well. That's cool. I'm not going to use this now. So keep the values, keep default values of selected device properties. Okay, daily schedule. So, well, okay, I mean, here in the daily schedule, you can, again, no, not daily schedule, dismiss. No, that would be the daily schedule. Limit temperature, control hysteresis. History, oh, I think it's this one. Okay, so temperature hysteresis, so the controller is this kitchen controller. You can set the hysteresis value. I think I'm going to just leave it 0.1 degrees, but you can maybe do 0.5 degrees or 4 or 5, yes. And you can set whether you want the value to be, let's say, fixed heating or cooling. So let's say that the value is fixed to heating and the output devices. Oh, of course, that's the heating valve. Okay, and also we have a limiting condition, temperature hysteresis controller. Kitchen heating valve controller. Good. Okay, so this looks good. So I configured this to work on heating. So this means that the set point is lower than the room temperature. And if I set it to higher, yes, it turns on. So now we need heat because we want more temperature. Oh, this is good. Oh, okay, this looks good. Okay, that's wonderful. So now, heating valve controller. Okay, good. So this is how you would, configure a temperature input to be assigned to a virtual thermostat, which obviously doesn't have a UI, well, unless other than the UI on the phone. And then, you configured it that this should control this output for heating. So if the set point is above the room temperature, then it turns on the heater. That would be like a thermostatic valve or something, which is going to open up the circuit for the kitchen. So it, starts circulating the temperature to that room. Okay, good. So I think the other thing I want to do is bring in another temperature sensor, so we can simulate how the two temperature sensor is going to influence each other. And for that, I do have a temperature probe on this 2 UI unit, which is not working, but I do have this thermostat here. So that's going to be a little bit complicated, but now we are going to see how we are going to bring in another Modbus device. And for this, I just go back to this hardware terminal where I have unticked the bus 3 as a Taphome bus, because I want to use that bus for Modbus and not for the built-in, not for the Taphome bus. And I've done this once. I just have to remember how I did this, because it wasn't, oh yeah, I have to go back to hardware and I say, okay, I want a new interface. So this is how you can connect external devices to Taphome in order for Taphome to control them. And again, you can see that there is a lot of integration already built in. So, you know, IP cameras, TP-Link, Zigbee, yeah, there is a bus Zigbee module, something similar to this one, which is going to listen all to Zigbee devices. And they also, you know, support Daikin air conditioning unit, LG air conditioning units. I'm guessing they would probably have like a Modbus interface, or you can buy these Modbus extensions. And I've never heard of them, so to be honest, yeah, KNX. So I'm going to use Modbus RTU. So for the terminal, it's going to be bus free. So you can see the bus free is connected. It goes all the way into this unit. Yeah, it's still on. And it is not, it is binary communication, stop bit 1, 8-bit parity none, 9600 baud, read, write out, blah, blah, it's fine, I guess it's fine. So now you can add the device from a template. So again, they have a bunch of Modbus devices already configured here. This is, for example, I think this is a free-phase energy monitoring, like the DIN rail-mounted device from Easton. And to be honest, I don't really know Cree. So this is Cree split AC units, most probably. And there is quite a few here. So let's see if I recognize any of them. So I think there are dolly dimmers, so for lights. I'm not sure what this Samsung is. And Velpro, these are these Modbus digital input-output devices. So you can either use them instead of using the digital outputs that you can buy from Taphome. I think these are even more cheaper. So if you have some devices where a little bit of latency is not an issue, then you can use these external devices and just drive them using Modbus. But I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to create a device and yeah, just add device, and yeah, it is going to be a thermostat. So I have a Modbus thermostat device, and in the service settings I can, so this is my Becca thermostat. So this is a Becca Energy Modbus thermostat. And the zone is living room, and the category is heating. I think we did heating. Pole intervals, 2500 milliseconds. Yeah, fine. Maybe we can just bring it down to 1000. Okay, slave ID is 1. Initial script, we don't need, at least not at the moment. Read humidity, so this doesn't do humidity, so that's going to be 0. And okay, so read temperature. So as you can see, this is some sort of function, which, I mean, just from the name, I haven't read the documentation, but just from the name, it says like Modbus read, and H is most probably holding registers. This is the register number, which is an integer, and you have to divide it by 100. And I just need to pull up my Arduino sketch, because I've done a separate video of how you read these Modbus thermostats on an ESP microcontroller. So I have a whole Arduino code set for that. And that's the only place I have the registers documented. So we just have to wait until it loads. And so you can see that there is a command to read the set point, and there is a command how you write the set point. And you can also read the valve, because obviously this has an internal relay to switch on, let's say the valve or your furnace. So we can read that as well. You can configure the periodic write if you want to continuously update the values on the actual unit from Taphome, but I don't think we need that. So let me just scroll down to my code. And so pan power mode target. So this is the target temperature, which is Modbus register 3. No, what's the read temperature? Ambient temperature is 8. And I know this backup thermostat stores the temperature with 1 decimal degree. So we need to divide the value by 10. And the set point, as I said, the set point is 3. And again, divided by 10. And in order to write the set point, you have to write to the same register and times by 10. And the valve is, lock valve is 9. Okay, and I'm going to copy this. I don't need anything else. Oh, it shows me 28 degrees. 28 is the set point. Okay, and it is reading 24 degrees. And if I change this to, let's say, 26, it updates to 26. And it shows 24. And if that's the sensor here. So if I heat it, then I guess we just have to wait for a couple of seconds and it will get updated here. Oh, okay, sorry, 25. So this is good. It's all working. It's reading the temperature values from this Modbus device. And we also have the valve, which is great. And I think we have the valve. Yeah. And I just have to change the mode because I think it's set to heating now. Yeah. And if I have the thermostat set up to 28 degrees, then the valve, you can see the small icon there, which is on. And if I bring it all the way down, it's now down to 16 and the valve goes off. Okay, and you can hear the click. Well, I can hear the click. So this is all working. And if I go back to my Taphome devices, I have a backup thermostat. And funny enough, I configured that it has a valve, but that valve doesn't appear as a device. So I think I'm going to go back to hardware and Modbus add TU, and I'm going to add a new device, which is going to be a read contact. And we just have to wait for a bit to get this updated, because I want to read the actual valve value from this unit. Houston, what's going on? So this is why I like to be connected to this unit locally. So at least it's, if something goes slow, it's not because of the internet connection, but because of something else. It did happen me a few times that this animation was just going on forever, and the only way I could get out of it is just to close the whole application and restart again. So I downloaded this application, Taphome. So as I said, it's just a Windows executable, and I think you need .NET something for it to work. I mean, I guess it's not really good that we left this Modbus configuration in the middle, but well, that's how it was working. Okay, good. We are back, so we just go to hardware and Modbus, and we have this new device, and now we can go into device settings and the read contact. Okay, and it's so the valve mode, fan, power, mode, target, ambient, lock. Valve was number 9. So we said it is actually a holding register and register number 9, and it is in 16. And polling interval, let me set this to 1000 as well. Okay, I think I'm just going to leave it as this. I mean, I can change the you know, there's the icon and everything. So let's check whether this is, it says it is closed. I would assume that it should be open. Let's see if I increase the set point. Ah, okay, it's the wrong state. So now it says it's open. Oh, I guess we can just flip it. Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense to keep it open or closed. So now it is, no, I think the text work okay. So that's on, so the valve is on and the valve is turned off. So now the valve is on because we have a set temperature really high. Let me go back to my devices, but if I turn the set point down, then the valve goes off. Yep. And I should have renamed this to, what is it? Is it going to living room heating valve? Okay. So now we are able to read the values. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you something else as well. It's going back to settings and hardware and Modbus, because it has a couple of other settings. So I can change the fan, which is Modbus value 1. So add device, and it's going to be a multi-value switch. And we just have this wait again. I don't know whether I should wait or just restart, because this seems to be a place where the either the app or the core itself just hangs. Maybe there is a cycle it needs to go through. I'm not really sure. Anyway, just to save some time, I'm just going to restart the this desktop app. Okay, we are in, and so this multi-value switch, yeah, thank you. So okay, so this is actually good. So we are reading from the first holding register, and we are going to save the same value to the same holding register. And it has a value 2 at the moment, and if I change the fan speed, it changes to 3. Okay, so auto, 0 is auto. And 1, I think 1 is high. So I can just redefine these, and of course I can just give it different icons as well. And that is probably medium, that's number 2. I'm not going to use it for anything, but I just wanted to show how you can just map all the values of a Modbus device, and that would be low. So here on this back of thermostat, you can set speeds as well. Serial number fine, and this is, okay, I'm just going to name it fan speed. Likely we are not going to use this for anything. Okay, low, medium, high, and we have some icons. If I go back to devices, then yeah, I can see the fan speed here. So if I change it to high, it changes to high. Wonderful. Okay, it works. So probably the last thing I want to show is on the core. So we have the first output circulation pump, and then we have the kitchen heating valve is the second. The living room heating valve is coming from a Modbus device, so this is not an output because that's controlled here, so this is a built-in relay. And let's say the third output, digital output, zone whole house, and it's going to be heating. That would be the boiler on-off. Boiler switch. Save. And this is a scenario we have gone through in the training, and I remember that, so that's the boiler switch, and I think we added a smart rule which says, and we used something here which says formula, equation. Did I use, no, I think we used equation. Pick a value, digital output. Yes. No. It must have been a formula. Or it wasn't. No, I think it was this one. So this formula should be evaluated every time any of the input changes. So we have variables. So the first variable is what was that? No, not this one, remove. So we need a variable. So we are interested in the kitchen heating valve, and we are also interested in not the circulation pump, living room. Where is the oh, okay, let me see if I yeah, that's what I wanted. So the formula is ST equals 1 and RC equals 1. No, of course not and, or. So you need to turn on the boiler even if there is a heating request from the kitchen or you have a heating request from the living room. And the output device is going to be the boiler switch, which is a digital output. I don't know why I need to confirm that. And that's the formula, and okay, you know, we should be using the limit. I mean, we could use the limiting condition here as well. You know, if you're not at home, then this is not going to apply, but I'm just going to leave it as it is now. And yeah, so hopefully this is working. So let's test this. Let's crank up the temperature in the kitchen, and yeah, it is working. So the kitchen temperature is on and the boiler is on as well. Now let's crank up the temperature in the living room. We are not going to see anything, which is okay. Yeah, the valve is on, but okay, anyway, the valve is on. And if I go back to the kitchen and if I reduce it in the kitchen, the boiler is still on because I still need heat in the living room. So yeah, at least something that I did remember correctly. So it is working. So the third LED, which is to request heat from the boiler, is on. So it is working. To be honest, this recording is 1.5 hours now. By the time I edited down the bit where I did the wiring, it's still going to be over an hour, which is, I think it's plenty for a single video. So I think I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to try to fix the issue with the circulator pump, and I also try to get this unit replaced so we can see how an additional external sensor is connected. But yeah, I will probably follow this up with another video. I mean, if you have any interesting scenarios that we should try to do, or if you have seen any of these smart rule options that are particularly interesting for you and you want to see in the details what you can configure in here, just let me know, and I will, I will try to create a separate video on that. But I think that will be all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.